Here are some examples of problems that you will see in the IXL assignment, Congruency in Isosceles and Equilateral Triangles. This is the IXL assignment that goes along with the Module 7.2 notes. In your first example, you see that you have an isosceles triangle. We know this because you have two congruent sides marked. Opposite corners from these congruent sides are going to be congruent angles. So this congruent side goes over here with this base angle I, which is going to be congruent with this base angle P. And once again, that's because I and P are the angles that are all the way across the triangle from congruent sides HI, opposite angle being G, and congruent side HG, opposite angle being I. So what you'll set up is you will set up P plus another P plus 88 equals 180 degrees. On the next level, you once again have an isosceles triangle. So you need to know that your base angles D and E are congruent. So we'll put an X over here in this corner. X plus 34, once again, equals 180. On your next level, another isosceles triangle. This time we have 36 and W as our base angles. And again, these are the two angles that are not where the two congruent sides meet. Side VU is congruent with side TU. They meet at this vertex angle, angle U. And so this is the one that's different from the other two. So W very simply equals 36. And then you can use 36 plus X equals 180 to solve for angle X. Then we have an exterior angle. You might remember that this was taught in the 7.1 video on exterior angles. So if you have two congruent angles down here, you can first use this linear pair to find that this angle is equal to 75 degrees. So if this angle is 75 and this angle is 75, because they are the base angles of an isosceles triangle, also because matching marks mean matching measures, you can use 75 plus A equals 180 to solve for A. This should be the last level that you need before you reach your required SMART score of 90. Here you have two triangles that are put together, and they make a third larger triangle. So you have to really analyze what's going on in your picture. You have HI, which is congruent to IJ in the big triangle HIJ. So what that means is that angle J is congruent to angle H. You also have that these two parts are also marked congruent. And if that is the case, then you have to have the two parts of angle K congruent with each other as well, because both of these triangles have to have 180 degrees total. You have matching angles up here, and you have matching angles down here, so you must also have matching angles in here. Well, what that lets us know is that these two triangles are exactly the same as each other. So if this part, if line JK is 10 units long, then line U is also going to be 10 units long. The way you can be sure of that is just kind of imagining triangle KIJ flipped over so that angle J is now on top of angle H, and that this line is on top of this line. And you can kind of imagine that this line that's 10 units is going to line up with HK, so it should also be 10 units. In the challenge zone, you see some more of these kinds of problems where you have the triangles put together. Since this is not required information, required work, you only have to get to a 90. These kinds of problems, just do your best and try to figure them out. Again, try to use what you know about the isosceles triangles. Even though these two isosceles triangles are not congruent to each other, you can know that this angle X has to be the same as angle T, and so you can put that up there. You also know that This side of angle T has to be 42 because of these two matching sides. And so you can subtract 42 and 42 from 180 degrees to figure out what angle W is supposed to be. Likewise, you can subtract 94 from 180 and then divide by 2 to figure out what each of these two x's is supposed to be. The way you would set that up in an equation, you would have x plus 94 equals 180. And you would also have w plus 42 plus 42 equals 180. And you would just work the two triangles separately.